All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful that got there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, today, is go into the lips of fools. Okay, and the biggest example of that is Esau Edom. Because we live in a society, especially with, social media, the social media era where people do and say the damnedest things, as people are able to hide behind, avatars, fake accounts, and even, just people on their accounts with their face and their actual name. Social media has emboldened, a lot of people to really speak, their mind, their inner thoughts. Okay. And a lot of these people in the thoughts, okay, are blasphemous, man. Which Esau has made rebelling against Yahweh Bashim Shai, a trend. It's a cultural norm, to speak and say anything against the Most High, okay, to mock the Bible, okay. So what we're going to see is that the Lord is going to hold, all right, the earth in contempt. A lot of people have spoken themselves into a hell of a judgment. All right, beginning with Esau Edom. No one has spoken up a judgment like Esau. Okay, the things that he does, all right, the things that he says and then goes and executes. This devil, is begging for judgment, man. He has a lot of people of this world begging, all right, for judgment, man. Okay, and the scriptures go into it. So I want to read it, Proverbs 18 and 6. It says, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. All right, so let's read this in the NLT. It said, fool's words get them into constant quarrels. Okay, so a fool's words gets them into constant quarrels. Okay, so Esau Edom, which he's a nation that stays at war. And all these wars begin with what? With words. As he began to demonize a leader, push propaganda. Because all his wars and conflicts begin with words. Okay, he lies and then eventually he's in the conflict. Okay, well, guess what? He's getting to the point now where the Lord got the right ones for him. He's been able to do that throughout the earth. But now the Lord got the right ones for him. And ultimately, the right one is Yahweh Shai. Okay, because this next core the devil is going to talk himself into is this third world war. See, like Trump is a great example. Because Trump been saying, well, look, if they don't like, we're dealing with Iran, and it's just an example of one of many. What did this nigga say? Well, if they don't make the deal, okay, it's going to be bad for them. So they didn't make the deal. But he already said it's going to be bad for him. So he put that pressure on himself that he got to do something, that they got to do something. Okay? So his goddamn mouth, talking so much, now he's in a position to where, hey, he going to have to do something. And the Lord put him in that position, man. Okay? But these devils, they run their goddamn mouth. They boast on themselves. They got this going on. They finna do this. They finna do that. And they talking themselves right into judgment, man. Okay? Because now Esau, he's used to winning these quarrels. Now he's finna lose, all right, this third world war. And then Yahweh Shai gonna come and finalize this, man. Okay? And it says, read again, Proverbs 18 and 6. It says, fools' words get them into constant quarrels. They are asking for a beating. Okay? And this devil is asking for a beating, man. All this slick talk, the AI gonna know the Bible better than anybody. AI is gonna replace all religions that have to do with words. There's no one that's gonna know words like the AI. We can make the Most High as mad as we want. These nigga words, man. Okay, we don't have to wait on the man to come from the sky to give us immortality, man. We got a few scientists in the basement that can give us that. Okay, we can hack humans now. See, this devil is speaking a mighty judgment, man. He's begging for a beating with his words, man. And he got you simple Jakes, you Israelites on the comment board, all right, and making these videos mocking the Bible and questioning the Bible. You're begging for a beating. Now you got the simple nigga woman saying, I can do a better job than the Most High. Okay, begging for a beating. Okay, so let's read 6 and 7. Proverbs 18 and 6 in the NLT. Fools' words get them into constant quarrels. They are asking for a beating. The mouth of fools are their ruin. They trap themselves with their lips. Okay, the mouth of fools are their ruin. Okay, and Esau Edom is the biggest fool on the earth, man. As he's boasting in him having technology that can replace the Most High. Okay, him boasting in post-human era. Okay, him boasting, all right, in going to war. What he's gonna do in his next war and all this is just he's putting himself and he's talking himself into a trap, man. And like I say, Trump is that lazy example, man. With this whole thing with Iran, he done talked himself into a trap. These devils hate the little weak, man, especially on a global scale, man. So he talked himself into an unwinnable situation that's going to lead to Yahweh Shai return. Because this whole thing with Iran, that's going to be the domino to Yahweh Shai. That's not no light thing. Okay? Like I say, damn Iran and Russia and China, whoever, North Korea, they're just a domino to Yahweh Shai. Okay? Who's going to come and give Esau their real beat. All right? From another realm. You see? So let's go there. Let's go from there. Let's get this in Ezekiel. Turn that on. So let's get this in Ezekiel 35. Just the book of Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 35 and 13. It says, thus with your mouth you have boasted against me. And this is speaking to Esau. Matter of fact, let me read one just to add the context. All right. It says Ezekiel 35 and 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, man. So this is Esau, just as Jerusalem, is referring to us as a people. Okay. A lot of times you read, when the scriptures speak about Jerusalem, it's referring to the people. Sometimes it's the actual city, but sometimes it's referring to the people. Will be known as Jerusalem. So Mount Seir, all right, is the equivalent, to how the Lord describes Esau. Sometimes it's speaking about Mount Seir, okay? And then there's times where it's talking about Esau, the government of Esau, man. Okay, you Edomites, man. The house of Edom. So this is a prophecy against Esau. It said prophesy against Mount Seir. Okay? So this is addressing Esau. So when you jump down, Ezekiel 35 and 13, thus with your mouth you have boasted against me and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. So the Lord been hearing all this slick shit, all this slick talking. Like I say, you ready for war? You got your space force. Who you talking about? Who in space? Okay, what you mean? All this little slick shit that you've been saying and this and that, and like I said, especially with this AI. Okay, we're gonna transcend what? Okay, was you gonna go beyond what the Most High has established from the beginning and said that it was good? Okay, you gonna transcend what? A space force for who? You gonna go to war with who? Okay, your artificial intelligence gonna replace who wisdom? Okay, so this man is boasting against the Most High openly, man. And the Lord like, look, I heard that shit, man. So now Esau, all right, he's finna get that beating he's been begging for, man. Okay, he gonna have to stand on all these words, because the devil been shaking his fist at the Most High, man. Okay, but now he's gonna have to stand on it in these times to come. Okay, that's why the scripture speak about a visitation. You see, the Most High finna visit these proud words in the earth, man, beginning with Esau, Edom. Okay, and the Lord gonna visit every level. So you simple niggas, okay, you done got caught up in this trend of being rebellious and proud and boastful with your mouth. Okay, all the way up to the elites, man. There's gonna be a visitation for, all right, these proud words in the earth, man. Okay, and it says, Ezekiel 35:13 again said, "Thus with your mouth you have boasted against me and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus said the Lord of power, when the whole earth rejoices, I will make thee desolate," man. Okay? So the end game for Esau, he's speaking himself into complete annihilation, because not only is he going to be removed from power and go into captivity, be the tail of captivity, but eventually he's going to get completely annihilated, man, out of the earth, man. He's going to be exterminated out of the earth. All this shit Esau done talked and did, he done talked himself out of existence, man. This nigga done talked himself out of existence. God damn. This nigga done talked himself out of existence, man. Okay? And the Lord gonna make good on that, man. You see? So verse 15 says, "As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, every Edomite, even all of it, and they shall know that I'm the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai." So this is what Esau is talking himself into, man. Okay? He's talking himself into a hell of a judgment, man. The worst judgment written in the scriptures. Okay? And this nigga has been the most rebellious, the most proud, and he done talked the most shit against the Bible, against the Most High, okay, against the true Israelites, man. Against any, all right, any form of righteousness he's bucked up against. Okay? So this is where we at, man. So yeah, this man words, all right, is bringing him to a beating. All right, he's begging for a beating with his words, man. Okay, so Lord will you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified. Till the next time I say shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abab, soon, shalom.